Alright, what is good, y'all? I want to start doing these videos every single week. The last one did very well. You guys seem to like it. So I'm like, let me do it again. So in this video, I will be reviewing my trading week, every single trade I took, and it was only one trade this week. Unfortunately, we ended the week break even, and I will go over the entire week, my thought process behind everything, and yeah, so let me get into it. So first off, I want to just start with saying Monday. As you guys know, I requested my payouts last Friday on my Top Step accounts, and they were taking a long time to process them, which allowed me to not be able to trade Monday. So Monday was off the table. I could not trade my accounts Monday. Now, let me get into I'm literally going to go over the only trade I took during the week and why I took it. Because as you guys see, literally transparency, proof. No trade Monday, no trade Tuesday, no trade Wednesday, break even Thursday, and then boom, no trade today, which is Friday. So let me get into and get the trading view chart pulled up and show you my trade. Okay, so this was Thursday, aka yesterday, and this was the only day I took a trade. So let me go over every single thing I was looking at and my entire thought process. So going into the day, I was generally not expecting to take a trade. And I got a comment on my last video saying zoom in on the candles, so I will do that. But let me go in higher time frames first. So as you guys see, right, overnight and pretty much pre-market, we absolutely dumped into kind of. Let me zoom in for you guys. We absolutely dumped into this no man's land area, right? The next round liquidity all the way down here, and we obviously have no relatively bullish targets because we've literally just dumped overnight and pre-market. So with that being said, I pretty much told my Discord, and my thought process was I am not essentially wanting to take a trade today. Why? Because no extremely draw on oh my gosh, no strong draw on liquidity. So that was kind of my thought process going in, but obviously I was open to see what market open did and what we did. So going into the day, that is what I was thinking. And as you guys can see, we were just dumping, 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 dumping. So obviously, I was not looking for longs. Obviously, no longs. Trade, trade with the trend, trade with the trend, trade with the trend. That's the most real thing of all time. So I was looking for shorts today. Shorts, 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 shorts. Now let me get to market open. Is this it? Yep. Okay. So market open was right here. Let me zoom in for you guys. And I'll go to the 5 minute here. And off market open, we dump, 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 dump. We drop 100. Yeah, let me go back. So off market open, we dump 100 and 157 points. So right overnight we dumped. Market open we dumped. So what am I thinking? Okay, we still have no extremely strong draw on liquidity, but just like these are the days you need to take advantage of when price is trading with volume, dumping, displacing. As a continuation trader, this is your gold mine. This is when you look at price and be like, wow, this is the shit I pray for, right? So, although we had no extremely strong draw on liquidity, I was still open to the fact if and only if I got an A plus setup, and I'll go into why I took this with no extremely strong high time frame draw on liquidity. So, right, we dropped nearly 160 points off open overnight, like every single time frame, dumping, 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 every single time frame bearish. So I'm gonna look for a continuation short. So let's go down to the 1 minute here. We're absolutely flooding the face. Still no relatively strong draws, higher time frame, lower, but I'll tell you why I took this trade. And I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. This was the heaviest I've ever bid on a trade. This was the heaviest I've ever bid on a trade. So, right, we get this retrace here. We dumped 160 points. We get this retrace. Where do we retrace to? This 5 minute gap. Okay, now I'm telling myself, let's see if this gap holds. If it doesn't, then I guess we just go higher in the day and I take no trades. I am a-okay with that. But I pretty much said this 5 minute gap is my condition, and I'm waiting to see the reaction we get out of it. So, literally the next candle. Literally the next candle. Watch this. Wait. the next candle. Boom. Okay. So what do you guys see here, right? We traded up into a 5 minute gap. We overall every single time frame, high time frame, dumping. Low time frame, dumping. We're rejecting out of a 5 minute gap. And what is this telling me, right? We get a 40, almost a 45 point rejection candle, bearish candle, and engulfing, displacing candle with a very strong candle close, right? So, with the overall objective of price being extremely bearish and catching a continuation lower, this gave me confidence to enter my first short position. So, this is where I took my first entry here with 1 mini. I entered this trade with 1 mini off this candle close. Reasoning behind it was I am expecting price to go down to this internal low. And okay, so let me get into why I was and had conviction in taking this short, although we did not have a strong draw on liquidity, right? So we get this very hard rejection, extremely strong candle close, and going into this, I was aware. I was very, very, very aware that there was no like low to target. That was extremely high probable. But with the current conditions, displacing heavy, retracing, flipping, and we are holding every single bearish gap. So in my mind, I had conviction in price going to this internal low. That is it. I was targeting nothing more than this internal low because I was aware that price did not need to continue dropping another 150 points. So all I was looking at was to target this internal low because in my mind it made sense for price to like with this flip here, it made sense for price to bare minimum take this internal low. If even if we were going to go higher after this, I thought the move was going to be made after we took this internal low. So again, boom, very hard rejection out of the 5-minute, a 40-point rejection candle, strong bearish close. So this is where I took my first entry with 1 mini. Now let's see the second candle after this. Boom, even confirms my trade idea even more. So after this candle, I add in another mini. So I am now in this position with 2 minis. I entered off the first candle close and the second candle close. And same idea, right? I am targeting no more than this internal low because price necessarily does not need to go anywhere past. We've already dumped a lot in the market. And I told you guys, literally my previous video was drawn liquidity. Where does price need to go in order to go somewhere? In my mind, it didn't make sense for price to edge this internal low at all. So especially with this very strong, clean, displacing, very, very, very convincing candle closures, right? So I took my first entry here with 1 mini, second entry here with 2 mini, so now my average position trailed to the 50% mark. So my average position was here, and I was waiting to see how we reacted. And as you guys see, we wick into this bullish gap here. I saw a little bit of drawdown, and we hold this 1 minute gap, and then finally give this rejection here. And I added in a third mini. It was kind of middle of this candle. It wasn't on this candle close. It was just above it. So roughly around right here, I add in my third mini. So where my average position trailed to about right here. So now, right, and I'll tell you where my stop loss was as everything, bro, can I get my tool? As everything was going on. So my average position is now trailed to right here, targeting no more than the internal low because in my opinion, price does not need to go anywhere past the internal low. And again, you guys see we're trading with a lot of volume. Like even with my trailed add-in position, this is still 40 points, right? 40 points or 3 minis. So if this trade would have hit, it would have hit for well over $2,000 per account, and I believe it would have been like a 12.5K or a 13,000 day across, so like 2.5K or something across my 5 accounts. So so after I added in my third position here, after I added in my second position, I trailed my stop loss to roughly around right here. Because if I were to have this stop loss way up here, I would be risking my entire drawdown. So I trailed my stop loss to roughly around here, expecting this gap to hold and us to continue pushing lower. And then once we continue pushing lower, after this candle closure here, I trailed my stop loss to this wick high. And then, as you guys know, I added in a third time. And once we were all the way down here, around 6 points away from my take profit, I mitigated my risk to break even on this trade. So risk-free trade at this point, because in this case scenario, like I said, I mean, my break-even system is internal lows and internal highs. And this is a weird case scenario where I am targeting the internal low, right? So what do you do when you have no break-even point? And this is what I do. It's just simply judgment. In my opinion, I just go break even where it doesn't make sense for price to go back to my entry point, right? When we hold this gap, continue displacing lower, get all the way down here, in my opinion, it makes no sense for price to go back to my entry point. So I go break even, and on top of it, we had a orange folder 10 a.m. news. So obviously gonna go break even here. There's no point of risking getting a crazy wick out and losing a ton of money, right? So here, it didn't make sense for price to go back to my entry before going to the internal low in my idea, so I mitigated to break even, and like I said, we had 10 a.m. news, orange folder, and what happened, very unfortunate, boom, 10 a.m. news wicks me out at break even, and then we fully reverse. So, again, what caused me to take this trade? I had conviction in the current market conditions. We are displacing, but you guys see the sequence, right? From this 5-minute gap rejection, we get 67 points. 67. Oh my gosh, there's no way, bro. 67 points of price just dumping, strong closures in the direction I want. And I know a lot of people possibly did not like this trade because there was no strong draw on liquidity, which is why I targeted the internal low, because in my opinion, it didn't make sense for price to continue dumping. But in my opinion, I had conviction that price would go back to this internal low of day, and that was my full take profit. I was targeting nothing more. And as you guys know, how I trade is I like to start my position off with like maybe half the size, and then once it gets more confirmed, I add in, right? So, boom, first entry, more confirming, second entry, more confirming, third entry, and then just unfortunately, we couldn't get 5 more points to the internal low, and I got stopped at a break even. So, very unfortunate, but it is what it is, and yeah, so that was the only trade I took this week. And hold up, I want to say this one thing about break evens as well. So you guys see how like this break even essentially saved me, and this is why break evens are very important, right? Because if price is not going to go to my draw on liquidity, then I expect it to fully stop me out. I expect price to fully stop me out, and is essentially saving me from a losing trade. So this is just why break evens are pretty important in my opinion. But break even on this trade, and literally the only trade I took this week. So break even week, and I want to talk to you guys and say why this is okay really quick. Because this is my first break even week in a hot minute, and obviously I would love to be in good profit on the week, right? I missed out on a beautiful day on Monday. Could I have easily FOMO'd in Tuesday, Wednesday, started forcing trades because I missed out on a beautiful day because Top Step was taking long on my accounts? Could I have FOMO'd in? 100%, yes, but did I? Fuck no, right? And it's simple as that. Like, I'm able to walk away from this week with a big smile on my face, even though I'm break even, right? Like, I don't like being break even, but I'm okay with it. Why? Because I have extreme confidence in my system, and I know I'll be able to make money consistently, and this is why I am able to, right? Because I don't care. I do not care over the result I get. I don't care about the P&L. I don't care how big of a day I get, how worse of a day I get. All I care about is sticking to my system long term, because I know that is the only thing that will get me paid. The only thing that will get me paid, and the second you start doing bullshit because you feel like you need to catch up to people, is the second you start forcing trades and taking shit that is not aligned with your system, and you will go down, and spiral. So I am fully okay with this break-even week, because I know every single week I am sticking to my system, and I will make money over long term, right? So why would I stress? And again, it's not even a losing week, bro. Not even a losing week. It's literally like, why would I stress? And you guys should be the same way. You guys should have the utmost confidence in your system. So regardless what happens, you have a losing week, a break-even week. Regardless, the outcome, you still need to have that insane amount of confidence within your system, and that is the only thing that will allow you to, 1, make money long term, and 2, have the confidence to size on trades, right? Like, I was in heavy as fuck on this trade. I was in 3 minis on this trade. That's a lot of size, bro. Like that's a lot of size. So that is the only thing that will give you confidence in trading, is sticking to your system long term, and that's why I am fully okay with this break even week. So I'm probably gonna continue to do these videos. Again, it's really good for transparency. You guys can see everything I'm doing, every single trade I'm taking, which I feel like is good for you guys. You can just watch what I'm doing, and yeah, I think it's really good overall. So that is this week. One trade this week. This was it. I went over everything, why I took it, why I had the conviction in that internal low, and everything. So with that being said, it is Friday. If you're watching this on a Friday, go enjoy your weekend. And yeah, overall, not the best week, not the worst week. It is what it is. So with that being said, in the description, TikTok, Instagram, free Discord where I teach for free, and I am affiliated with Alpha Futures. So if you want accounts with Alpha, code Jack will get you discount. Oh my gosh, will get you discounted. And of course, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.